Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for our Sunshine State Conference Swimming Championship Preview. My name is Tian Ho, and I'm with Florida Southern College Athletics, joined by head coach of the swimming teams, Andy Robbins. Thank you for joining me today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. So we're going to be talking about the SSC Swimming Championships. As we mentioned, it's going to be a great opportunity for the Florida Southern College Mocs, and joined by some of the best in the Sunshine State Conference, such as the likes of Bear University, the Florida Institute of Technology, Nova Southeastern University, Lynn University, Rollins College, the University of Tampa, as well as the Moccasins. It's going to be hosted in Ocala, Florida, as it is every year, at the Florida Aquatic Swimming and Training Center. So for Coach Robbins, before we get to that SSC championship, how did the regular season go? And looking back on it, were there any standout meets that really are going to prepare this team for the SSC championships?
The regular season went well. First semester, we had a few hiccups. Our first meet was canceled due to a hurricane, which kind of put us in an odd spot in terms of preparation for the season, versus our normal preparation. But our mid-season meet went well. It was, conditions weren't great for fast swimming. It was very cold. But, as I kind of, talked to the team about that, it's all part of the preparation. And if we have to face the adversity there, we're more prepared for whatever can come down the road. Second semester went better. Obviously we had several home meets. Our whole home schedule was January basically. And that was nice. Our home meets went well, especially our last two conference meets. We had some really good swims, and look forward to moving on from there.
Absolutely fantastic to hear. So now we're going to more so touch on cuts, and that's going to be really, really important because I'm sure some of our viewers at home don't understand fully A standard and B standard times. Explain to them what that is and why that's important for the championships.
Okay. For NCAA championships, there are two qualifying standards times. There's an A standard, which is a really difficult standard to make, and typically, that might be only 3 or 4 to 10 swimmers in the country make those A standards. And then there's a B standard, which is much more attainable, and the formula basically the B there might be 50 or so people that make the B standard, but only typically on the women's side 27, 28 qualify in each event. On the men's side 21 to 22 roughly. So there's the top end is all the A standards, and once you make the A standard, you're going, you're in the meet. With the B standards, when you make a B standard, you don't know you're going yet. You can kind of use historical data, which we use a lot, and knowing that right around that 22 line or the 27 line, depending on the gender, you kind of have a good idea that you might make it. And if you're like top 15 or so, you're pretty sure you're going to get in, going into that last weekend. So yeah, it is a little confusing, and just for the swimmers as well, and it's a little nerve-wracking to be, in that, 20 to 23 if you're on the guy's side, or 26 to 28, 29 on the ladies' side. You're kind of on the bubble. So, and the difficulty is, even if you're probably 30 or so on the women's side and 25 on the guy's side, you're going to have to keep training after your conference meet without knowing whether you're going for sure. So it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's that's the system we have, and year to year we've been able to kind of predict pretty accurately who's made it and who hasn't based on their times.
Yeah, well, we have some of the best swimmers in the conference, and it is such a competitive conference as well within the Sunshine State Conference itself. But heading into those championships, let's first touch on the men's side. Obviously some very talented swimmers returning, and then also unfortunately the loss of, like, an example of Kyle McAuliffe, an NCAA 50 freestyle champion, which unfortunately we had to see him go. But it's going to be a really, really nice opportunity for us to hopefully see some new swimmers step up, as well as some returners put up some fantastic times. The men's, they placed 3rd at the championships last year, and their most recent SSC championship coming in 2022. They're tied for the most SSC championships all time in men's swimming for the conference, including a 4-peat from 2013 to 2016. What's the outlook for the team as a whole? And then we could touch on some individuals.
As a whole, I think we're in a really good spot to be top 3, possibly top 2. I think it's going to be tough. Tampa, defending national champion, they're strong again. They'll be tough to beat. But after that, I think us and Nova, Lynn's had a really good year. They could be vying for that second spot as well. So the 2, 3, 4 is going to be a real battle.
Now for the women's team, 4th in the SSC Championships last year. Their most recent coming in 2016 in terms of a championship. They placed 29th at the national championship last year. There's so much competition in the conference on both sides. What's the outlook for that women's team as a whole?
I think the women are kind of in a similar spot from last year as well. I think, this time on the women's side, Nova's defending national champion, and they're obviously going to be very strong. Tampa's going to be very strong. I think it's going to be just like last year. I think between us and Lynn for 3rd, the women's team has had a little bit of a rough season with some injuries and illness and that kind of thing, and I think we're probably as strong as we've been all year now. So that's the good news, and we'll just have to see what we can do with it.
Any stand-up performers, I guess you could say, making waves at the moment?
Well, yeah, actually, on the women's side, Sam Hunter was the recent conference swimmer of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Had a really strong finish to the semester, to the regular season. She's really excited about going to the conference meet and hopefully further than that. And then of course we've got some returning NCAA ladies, Olivia Miles and Elizabeth Sykes. Alize Pelletier has struggled with injuries all year, actually more than this year, but so she's kind of poised to get back into the mix here. So, and then I don't know if you wanted me to go to the guys' side.
Yeah, we can touch on the men's side as well.
I think the several guys have really kind of pushed. Starting even a couple of years ago, Brandon Wilson really made a big strong push from his freshman year, and now he's a senior, and I think he benefited quite a bit from the NCAA experience he had. He's our captain. He'll be relied upon heavily, not just for what he can do in the pool, but for leading the team and that kind of thing. I got a handful of new folks as well on the men's side that are going to be crucial in getting us relays to NCAAs, individual to NCAAs, so we can try to contend for a top 10 spot there.
Such an exciting time this year, especially with all the competition we have coming up, both extremely prestigious competitions, and then it's always fantastic to watch these mock swimmers in the water. Anything you want to say to the viewers, especially, potentially their families, as we had the championships coming up?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the families are great, really supportive. There'll be a strong contingent at the conference championship meet to kind of inspire our group and help us, do our thing there. They've always been really supportive and kind of crucial in getting the team excited and in a good position to perform at their best.
Any other people you want to thank? Any acknowledgments?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it starts with the administration. Drew and Jill. Jill is our oversight, and she's been really supportive and giving us an opportunity to be at our best.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. Coach Robbins, thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure to be able to speak with you. Again, a big SSC championship coming up. Thank you for joining us for our 2025 Sunshine State Conference Championship preview. Both teams will travel to Ocala, Florida, where they will compete at the Florida Aquatic Swimming and Training Center from Wednesday, February 12th to Sunday, February 16th. Competition on February 12th will begin at 5 p.m. and the subsequent days of competition will run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Good luck to both teams, and as always, go Mocs.